They say you're tired, that you're lazy, that you lack drive. But deep down, you know that's not the truth. You're not tired, you're uninspired. There's a fire inside you, but the world poured cold water on it. From the moment you were born, they've been programming you to follow the rules, to sit still, to obey. Not to dream, not to question, not to burn with passion. They handed you a script and called it life. Go to school, get good grades, get a job, fit in. Don't stand out. Don't aim too high. Don't make others uncomfortable with your ambition. And somewhere along the way, your light dimmed. Not because it went out, but because they convinced you to hide it. You wake up tired not because your body is weak, but because your soul is bored. The routine is killing you slowly. Same alarm, same job, same conversations, same digital distractions numbing your mind. You scroll endlessly not because you enjoy it, but because it's the only escape they allowed you. Every day is a copy of the last, and deep inside, something screams for more. That scream? That's your true self, just begging you to listen. You were meant to build, to create, to conquer, but they trained you to consume. Buy this, watch that, wear this, follow that. And in the process, they stole your focus. They taught you to chase dopamine hits instead of purpose. That's why you feel drained, because everything around you is shallow. You're diving into puddles and wondering why your thirst for meaning isn't quenched. But the problem isn't you. It's the system, the structure, the culture of mediocrity we're all marinating in. You're not broken. You're just disconnected from what sets your soul on fire. And that disconnection feels like exhaustion. But if you've ever stayed up all night doing something you love, writing, gaming, designing, building, you know what real energy feels like. That's not caffeine. That's clarity. That's alignment. That's purpose. That's what they don't teach in schools. How to find the thing that makes time stop. How to chase something that wakes you up instead of putting you to sleep. So you drag your feet through the day. Not because you're weak, but because the day holds nothing for you. It's not that your body is failing. It's that your heart is being ignored. You were never meant to live a life of quiet desperation. You were built for impact, for power, for greatness. But first, you have to unplug from the noise. You have to break the loop of endless distractions, of meaningless habits, of false comfort. You don't need more sleep. You need more purpose. You don't need more breaks. You need more meaning. Every cell in your body is ready to go to war for a mission worth fighting for, but you've been deployed to the wrong battlefield. A place where you sit in silence instead of shouting your truth. A place where your gifts gather dust. A place where dreams are deferred until they die quietly. You're not tired. You're suffocating. And the worst part? They made you believe this is normal. That dragging through life is just how adulthood works. That settling is the mature thing to do. But they lied. Settling is slow suicide. Playing small is spiritual starvation. And if you keep ignoring that whisper inside of you, it will become a scream. You'll look back in 10 years and wonder what happened. You'll wonder where the fire went. But the truth is, it never left. You just buried it under expectations that were never yours. Your energy is a mirror. It reflects your inner alignment. If your tank is empty, it's not because you're defective. It's because you're driving in the wrong direction. You're saying yes to things that drain you and no to what would awaken you. You need to reverse that. You need to reclaim your power piece by piece. Not with hype or noise, but with raw truth. Start asking the questions they told you not to ask. Who am I really? What was I born to do? What makes me feel alive? Because the day you answer those questions honestly is the day fatigue loses its grip on you. Not because life gets easier, but because you become unstoppable. You keep saying you're tired. But are you really? Or is it something deeper? Because let me tell you something real. Exhaustion doesn't always come from effort. It comes from emptiness. You wake up already feeling heavy, not because your body is worn out, but because your spirit is. You're not tired. You're uninspired. You're dragging yourself through routines you never questioned. Living a life that was handed to you, not one you chose. Your dreams have been gathering dust in the attic of your mind, and your soul's been screaming for movement, for purpose, for fire. But you silence it with scrolling, binge-watching, eating, sleeping, and then blame your fatigue on everything except the real problem: lack of meaning. Look around you. The system was built to keep you dull. They give you just enough dopamine to survive, but never enough to thrive. Just enough comfort to stay quiet, but not enough challenge to grow. Just enough praise to feel seen, but not enough truth to wake up. You don't need more sleep. You need a mission. You need to remember what it feels like to want something so bad that you forget you're even tired. Remember when you used to stay up late chasing ideas? Creating? Dreaming? You didn't need caffeine back then. You had hunger, obsession, a burning question in your chest that kept you alive. But over time, you traded that fire for fitting in, for stability, for what they called being realistic. And now here you are, hitting snooze on your life every morning, telling yourself it's just burnout. But deep down, you know it's soul rot. You're not physically tired. You're mentally disengaged, emotionally absent, spiritually bankrupt. And the worst part? You've gotten used to it. You call it normal. You call it adulthood. But it's not. It's a trap. And the longer you stay in it, the harder it becomes to remember who you were before you fell asleep in the middle of your own life. The world will tell you to rest. And yes, rest is important. But too much rest in the absence of purpose becomes decay. You start rotting from the inside. You need discomfort. You need a spark. You need something that drags you out of bed in the morning with urgency, with madness, with a kind of wild-eyed hunger that doesn't ask for permission. You need to stop blaming your body for what your heart refuses to pursue. Because the truth is, people with purpose don't need motivation. They're pulled by something larger than themselves. They don't need pep talks. Their life is the talk. Their actions do the screaming. And right now you're silent. You're walking through a museum of your potential and never touching anything. You admire what could be, then go back to what is. And every time you do that, a piece of you dies. You don't need more time. You don't need more energy. You need to stop running in circles and start moving in one direction, forward, toward the unknown, toward fear, toward the version of you that scares you because they actually try, because they actually fail, because they actually live. The problem isn't your schedule. It's your standard. The problem isn't your job. It's your vision. The problem isn't your routine. It's your resignation to a life that doesn't ignite you. You're not tired. You just haven't been lit in so long, you forgot what being on fire feels like. You forgot what it means to be obsessed, to be consumed, to lose track of time because you're in flow, because you're building something that feels like war and art and God all at once. And you know what? That version of you still exists. It's buried under layers of people-pleasing, fear, doubt, and distraction. But it's there, and it's waiting. It's waiting for you to stop settling. Waiting for you to stop pretending that you're fine when you know you're not. Waiting for you to finally look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not tired. I'm bored. I'm empty. And I refuse to stay this way. Because the truth is, you're not even close to your limit. You haven't even scratched the surface. You've got so much fire in you it could light up cities. But first, you have to believe you're worthy of building a life that sets you ablaze. Not one that just pays the bills. Not one that just looks good on the outside. One that tastes like freedom, like purpose, like truth. And if you ever want to feel alive again, you need to stop numbing yourself with excuses and start chasing what gives you chills. Not what gives you likes. Not what gives you validation. But what gives you goosebumps. What makes your voice shake. What makes your eyes water. You're not tired. You're uninspired. Exhaustion, and it's time the soul's cry for purpose. You drag your feet through routines, mistaking monotony for fatigue. You stare at screens, scroll endlessly, drown in noise, yet feel nothing. That's not tiredness. That's a dream dying slowly. Your body isn't weak. Your spirit is starving. It's starving for passion, for vision, for something real. The problem isn't that you have no energy, it's that you've given it all away to things that don't matter. And now, when it's time to show up for yourself, there's nothing left in the tank. You've become an expert at survival, but a stranger to yourself. That blank feeling? That's what happens when you silence the voice inside that's been begging you to break free. Every morning you wake up and for a second you remember. But then the world hits you with its noise, expectations, and illusions. So you shut it down again. You numb it. You lie to yourself saying, I'm just tired. No, you're uninspired. You were built for fire, not fatigue. Your heart was made to burn, not to break. But you've been trained to play small, to settle, to obey. They told you to color inside the lines. So you did. And now you feel trapped in a picture you didn't even choose to draw. You didn't come here to play their game. You didn't come here to blend in. You were meant to shake the ground. But that requires waking up. And waking up isn't gentle. It's violent. It rips illusions apart. It exposes the lies you've believed. It forces you to see yourself, really see yourself. Not the version they programmed you to be, but the raw, wild, relentless force you were born as. That's who you are. And that part of you, it's still alive. It's buried, bruised, and quiet. But it's not dead. It's waiting. Waiting for you to stop pretending. Waiting for you to get sick of playing small. Waiting for the moment you finally scream, enough. When you reach that point, everything changes. The fog lifts. The weight disappears. The fire returns. Because inspiration doesn't come from outside. It erupts from within. The world can't give you what you already have. It can only distract you from it. You've been looking for energy, but what you need is alignment. Align with your truth. Align with your calling. Align with the pain that shaped you and the vision that pulls you. That's when you unlock energy that no coffee or sleep can give you. That's when you stop dragging your body through life and start flying. You think you're broken, but you're just bored of the lies. The 9 to 5. The empty conversations. The fake smiles. The surface level living. You crave depth. You crave meaning. And those cravings are sacred. Don't numb them. Feed them. Feed them with action. Feed them with truth. Feed them with courage. You're not lazy, you're misaligned. You're not lost. You've just been ignoring your compass. That inner voice? It knows. It always knew. But you've silenced it with comfort, with distractions, with fear. Wake it up. Reignite it. You're not here to sleepwalk. You're here to set the world on fire. So what are you waiting for? Permission? You don't need it. Approval? It's a trap. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be legendary. And legends don't wait for motivation. They create it.